Episode 1 of One Jets Drive has premiered. Episode 1 of Hard Knocks has premiered. As New York Jets fans, how do we feel about it? Which show outdid the other one? We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more in New York Jets and some other sports topics as well. But you know what time it is? It is Wednesday night, and it is 10 o'clock at night, Eastern PM time. It is time for Wednesday Night Live with Law 2K99. Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. This is WA2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to join me Wednesday nights. Just a reminder, you can check out all my videos at NY Sports WickerMedia at 700 plus subscribers and growing. I thank every one of you who's taken the time to subscribe, to watch a video, and to like a video. Means a whole heck of a lot to me. So what we're going to do tonight, it's going to be mostly a New York Jets show once we get done with a little 3 and out. I got a bunch of Jets topics I want to talk about. Hard Knocks, One Jets Drive. We're going to talk about the first scrimmage day against the Carolina Panthers. I want to spend some time talking about this offensive line as well because it's been coming under a lot of criticism as of late, and I want to talk about a little bit of that criticism. And I do have some Jets trivia for you at the very end of the show, so you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that. Want to say hello to Hank G. Here we go, man. I'm glad you're here, and I'm going to give you the best show that I got. I got the Rodgers jersey going right here. Man, I am so excited. The more that I got to tell you something, but before we even get into all of that, I just got to say something real quick. Watching him actually throw a football, it feels different now. Obviously, we know how great of a quarterback Aaron Rodgers is. No, nothing can deny that. But when you just see like little clips of it, when you hear something from a writer or from somebody who's attending a practice or something to that effect, it's different. But when you see just how cool he is on the field, when you see his poise, how natural his throwing motion is, oh my gosh, it just gets me so excited. It's starting to click in now, just now, that this guy is going to be the quarterback of the New York Jets. But we'll get to that in a moment. Before we get to the Jets, let's do a little bit of 3 and out. So the first topic I want to spend a minute on is the realignment of college sports. Here's something that I've really learned over the years. Television and money rules everything. Okay? Television runs college sports. That has been true ever since 1984 when the NCAA versus the Oklahoma Board of Regents Supreme Court case. What happened there was schools won the ability to sell their broadcast rights, and college sports has never been the same since. It has been a business of the highest order. So after the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12 got their TV deals, there was another major conference waiting for a deal, and it was the Pac-12, formerly the Pac-10, out on the West Coast. But here's the thing. USC and UCLA, the two marquee schools there, they're already on their way out to the Big Ten. Without those two schools, the Pac-12 was down to really a handful of programs that had marketability for television. So now it gets worse. Oregon and Washington are heading to the Big Ten, or as I think it should now be called, the Big 18. That's how many schools are in that conference right now, okay? 18 schools in one conference. Come on. Also, you got Arizona State, and Utah joining Colorado in the Big 12. You know what? In the simplest terms, it comes down to this. By stripping the Pac-12 down to just spare parts, ESPN and Fox are going to end up getting the teams they want without having to pay for the teams they didn't want. Oregon is a national brand backed by Nike's dollars. Washington is located in a major market. They got a good athletic history. Colorado has Deion Sanders coaching the team. Arizona basketball contends for a national championship every year. Arizona State has 150,000 students under its umbrella. So now the Pac-12 is now a Pac-4. That's it. Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, Washington State. That's all that's left. And I think about the Big Ten. I lived in Chicago for 20 years, the heart of Big Ten country. In 2022, they added USC and UCLA, which is just so bizarre to me. Now they've added two other Pacific Coast schools. And don't even get me started on the Big East from the 70s. And from the late 70s and the 80s to what it's become today. I mean, I grew up on Big East basketball. Syracuse, Georgetown, UConn, St. John's, Villanova, Providence, all those schools. But it was the football money that destroyed that conference. In my mind, the best basketball conference there ever was. That was when I started to learn that it was a business. Dick Vitale, God bless him. I respect the man, but he said something even back then that didn't seem right to me. He said college sports is about the name on the front of the jersey. Pro sports is about the name on the back of the jersey. I hate to tell you, Dick Vitale, but that's not true anymore. It is so much about money. It is so much about greed. What did tradition matter to these TV networks? Did geography matter to these TV networks that pulled the strings? No. There is just as much greed in college sports as there is the pros. The only difference is instead of the athletes profiting off of it, it's the networks and it's the campus presidents. Keep that in mind. Want to say a quick hello to Jets Mess. A really stellar guy. He's taking the time to reach out to me, to email me this week, to give me his support. And Jets Mess, I really appreciate you. And I know every other channel that you support appreciates it too. Thanks, man. All right, on to number 2. I can't believe I'm going to spend a minute on this, but I will spend about 2 minutes on the Women's World Cup. This is the only American team I cannot root for. Okay, for a number of reasons. I do get into the United States pretty much in any soccer tournament, hockey tournament. This team, for years, it's been very hard to root for them for a number of reasons. But I want to give credit to one player, and that is Julie Ertz, 2-time World Cup winner, who is retiring now from the national team, Zach Ertz's wife. Now, here's the thing with Ertz. It was expected she was going to be a midfielder for this World Cup. But then the U.S. captain, Becky Sauerbrunn, gets a foot injury, keeps her out of the World Cup. So then the U.S. Manager, whose name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, it's got a ski at the end of it. No, Vlatko Adanovsky. He moves Ertz back to defense, to center fullback, a role that she played in 2015. And in the 4 matches the U.S. played, they allowed just 1 goal. Didn't mean they scored goals, but they were good at preventing them. And on a side note, she was one of the very few women on that team who would actually sing the national anthem and look at the U.S. flag. So I salute Julie Ertz. Happy trails. Number 3, we're going to go to the sport of hockey. That's right, hockey in August. Yeah, I actually did a Rangers video earlier this week about a new coaching hire they just made this week. So check that out if you're in hockey. But the Pittsburgh Penguins acquired defenseman Erik Karlsson from San Jose in a trade that is being lauded by hockey reporters and hockey fans alike. Oh, I want to see our newest subscriber, Eric Wallace, who just joined, and Pure Adrenaline Sports hooked the 2 of us up. Eric, I really do appreciate you being on, and I hope we give you some great content. I really hope I make it worth your time. And I'll be sure. I'm not sure if you have any, if you put out content yourself, but if you do, I will definitely check it out. So, Eric, thank you so much for being the newest subscriber to New York Sports WickerMedia. But Erik Karlsson, last season, 33 years old, had 101 points, 25 goals, 76 assists with the San Jose Sharks. He is just the 6th defenseman in the history of the NHL to reach 100 points in a single season, and the first since the great Brian Leetch in 1991-92 for the New York Rangers. Karlsson won the Norris Trophy as top defenseman in the league, 3rd of his career. He was named a finalist for the Ted Lindsay Award, the MVP voted on by the players. Okay, now here's the thing with this trade. Karlsson has 4 seasons remaining on an 8-year contract that pays him $11.5 million per year. All right, now San Jose is going to pay $1.5 million of that salary, so Pittsburgh owes him $40 million over 4 years. Now in the trade, Pittsburgh parted with a couple of good defensemen, in Jeff Petrie and Jan Rutta. Karlsson, conversely, is an absolutely elite talent. Now, the 33-year-old Carlson, he joins the 36-year-old Chris Letang on defense, as well as Sidney Crosby, 36, Jeff Carter, 38, Evgeny Malkin, 37, Lars Eller, 34. All of these Penguins will be playing this season at the AARP Arena. The PPG Paints Arena. Oh, pardon me. Here's the issues I have with this trade, okay? I don't doubt Carlson will make the Penguins more dangerous, but Carlson has missed 97 games over the last 4 seasons. The Penguins have not won a playoff round in 5 years, and last season missed the playoffs for the first time since 2006. The Metropolitan Division is loaded. I think that there are 3 teams clearly better than the Penguins in the Rangers, Hurricanes, and Devils. When you add Erik Karlsson to this roster, it makes them even more top-heavy than they already were. It doesn't improve their bottom 6 forwards. It doesn't help Tristan Jarry become a more reliable goaltender. I'm sorry, I am not trusting my team with Tristan Jarry as the main goalie. The Penguins still are a flawed team in my mind, and I don't think this is going to make them a Stanley Cup contender. It might give them a much better shot at getting one of the wild card spots in the Eastern Conference, but at the end of the day, I don't think they're beating a team like the Hurricanes or the Bruins or the Rangers over the long haul. I just don't. Well, that's it from a 3 and out. So let's go on to some New York Jets talk. Now, I got a number of things I want to talk about, but I want to recap One Jets Drive and Hard Knocks. I can't believe I actually paid $15 to get HBO for the month just so I could watch Hard Knocks. I was tired of trying to find some fraud YouTube post that might put it up. It just wasn't worth it. So I bit the bug, and I want to pay the $15 to watch Hard Knocks. And man, oh man. First thing I'm going to say about One Jets Drive, we'll just go in order. We'll just kind of break it down. So both shows started with Robert Saleh speaking. And I like, though in particular, that Aaron Rodgers, the show opens after Saleh speaks. It cuts over to Aaron Rodgers. And he's kind of giving the last speech to his teammates before they break, before training camp starts. And one of the things he asks is, what are you willing to give up to win a championship? Not what are you willing to do to win a championship? What are you willing to give up? Because it's about sacrifice. It's about the extra work. Doing the one thing that these other teams won't do. Everybody's going to work hard in the NFL, just about, outside of maybe, say, Jamarcus Russell or Johnny Manziel. But for the most part, everybody's going to work hard, but you got to be willing to make a sacrifice sometimes. Turning down your friends when that you want to go out. Eating this, not that. Doing that little bit of extra cardio that other player is not doing. All of these things make a difference, and I love that Rodgers emphasized sacrifice. That is important to me. It's all about accountability, not just to yourself, but to your teammates and to your coaches. Quick hello to the great Johnny Jimenez, fellow Virginia resident and a fellow diehard Jets fan. Man, life's been a little bit crazy as of late, but I got to tell you, the Jets, they got me pretty excited, even though there's a lot of crows out there. And you know what? If you're a Jets fan, can't you just feel the crows just circling all around right now, especially over the last couple of days? Oh, and a lot of them are on the beat. A lot of them are beat reporters. That's something I wanted to do when I was a kid. Oh, my goodness. But we're going to address some of those comments a little bit later on. I got something to say about the Jets beat writers, for sure. But Michael Clemens, by the way, he scares the living hell out of me. And I think he's about to scare the living hell out of the United States of America very soon. The fact that I don't think there's a question where Michael Clemens doesn't just stare down at you and it's like, yep, that's the answer. I don't need anything else. Michael Clemens is one scary son of a gun. He doesn't need the barbed wire baseball bat to scare the crap out of you. And I look forward to him actually talking on Hard Knocks. So far, we've heard one word. Literal. I think he actually did break one huddle down. I will say that. But as far as addressing like the camera or doing an interview for the actual show, we've only heard one word, and that was the word yes when he was asked, do you feel you can be the edge rusher that this team needs? Can you set that edge? Because yes, he's got that bass going on that I just don't have going on right now. Oh my gosh. You know what, Johnny, did I see his arms? I'm working on him myself. I think both of my arms combined would still pale in comparison. to either one of those two guys. I'll tell you that for sure. I may be doing some working out, but man, I ain't got what they got for sure. What Jets drive? So then they spent a lot of time at Lake Tahoe with Aaron Rodgers on the golf course. I guess the idea of it was to get sort of a philosophical approach about what was going on in Aaron Rodgers' mind, what he's thinking about, what he wants to do, what it's going to take, why this is a new opportunity for him at this stage of his life, and why it means so much to him. And then it cuts back over to One Jets Drive in Florham Park, New Jersey. And the first thing I see is Quinnen Williams holding a pink purse. And my first thought is, oh, my dear God, please tell me that's for his wife. But Quinnen shows up, ready to sign his contract extension, well-deserved 4-year contract extension worth close to $100 million. And both Quinnen and Quincy get their contracts this year, moves that I felt the Jets really needed to make. And I'll tell you what, Quincy Williams in particular, I'm very interested to see how he changes this season because Quincy has been a very hit or miss player. He makes big plays, but he has a tendency to struggle with his tackling reliability, let's call it. He is prone to missing tackles. So really, if Quincy can gain a little bit of fundamental skill, and he's going to have to because he's the second linebacker on this team along with C.J. Mosley. The Jets need him to really help that defense go well. And I'm really interested to see what Quincy has going on this year, especially after getting paid. Let's see what he does. But, man, Quinnen, we've seen what this defense is without Quinnen. When he's not on the field, it is a different defense. When he did not play that one game, I believe it was against Detroit. I think that was the one game that Quinnen Williams did not play, and the defense they were just missing a spark. They were missing an edge. They were missing a swagger. They were missing a confidence. And Quinnen Williams provides that. He deserves every dollar that he's getting. And another player that I'm glad they profiled is Elijah Vera Tucker. He has been so forgotten about. You know what one of my pet peeves is? When somebody on the radio, on social media, or wherever say, when the Jets lost Breece Hall, they were never the same. That is a partially correct statement. The truth of the matter is Elijah Vera Tucker went down in the same quarter with a torn triceps, and the offensive line was never the same again. Elijah Vera Tucker played 3 different positions on that offensive line. He is the Swiss Army knife of this offensive line. As the Jets tackles are struggling with pass blocking, I continue to say Elijah Vera Tucker is going to have something to say about it. But I'm glad they took a little bit of time to profile him a little bit to get his feeling on where he is now, how he's doing with his recovery. And here's the thing. How much talk have you heard about Elijah Vera Tucker this offseason, during this training camp, during this exhibition season? You haven't. And that's about the best thing with an offensive lineman that you can hear is nothing whatsoever. Because if you hear talk about an offensive lineman, he's typically hurt or he's struggling. So I'm very, very excited about AVT. And I think this is going to be a season where he starts to get some of the recognition and the respect that, to me, is long overdue for number 75. A couple comments. Jets mess. Quinnen brought a goatee with that contract money. Hey, he could afford that and all the just for men he needs down the road to keep it nice and dark. Johnny Jimenez, you see, Kuntz, he looked good blocking. I know that was something that was said he didn't do well. He looked okay with the blocking. The biggest thing that I've noticed with Zach Kuntz is his special team, just the size and speed combined. I mean, I was really worried that the Jets did not have a wide receiver or a tight end aside from Kenny Yeboah who could really block effectively and play special teams. I know they have wide receivers who can block, but I'm really talking more about the special teams here. Okay, but Kuntz has really shown the ability to get down the field and create some space. And even if he's not ready to be a tight end in the NFL, I don't know, but I think he can fight his way on if he continues to thrive on special teams. But, yep, that's our guy. That's our Virginia guy. We're wanting this guy to make the team and succeed as well. Whew, yeah, I really, really hope that it works out. Bernard Johnson. Hey, Bernard, also from Pure Adrenaline Sports. Check them out as well. They do a lot of live broadcasts. I was on watching the Mets-Cubs game with a couple of the guys with my pal John Post. You see him in here a lot. Oh, speaking of which, quick check on the Mets game here. And, yep, the Mets win the game 4-3. So they beat the Cubs in this series 2-1. Even though I got to admit, as a Mets fan, I'm kind of hoping for some better draft spots. I will never complain about beating the Cubs because outside of the Braves, I don't think there's a team I want to see them beat more than the Chicago Cubs. That is the truth of it. John Post, man, you brought the goods with you tonight. 16 people in the chat live. I am loving this, man. This is absolutely fantastic. All right. Well, thanks so much. Hey, we've already done 3 and out. We're doing a lot of Jets. And remember, we do have trivia coming up at the end of the night. I am watching for your comments. I'm watching for your questions. Throw them at me. All right. So with One Jets Drive again, yeah, definitely Elijah Vera Tucker. I'm thrilled that he got a little bit of attention. And then we go over to the open practice. And I think one of the things that I really, really liked that I don't think people are really talking about was Keith Carter, the new run game coordinator and offensive line coach. I really liked the way that he was breaking down the techniques of blocking, doing this is where the power lies, talking about how you use your hands, where you place your hands to get the most effective result possible. And, we'd heard with Keith Carter, when he was coming in, he was sort of the bad cop. And I really felt the Jets needed a bad cop coach because Robert Saleh, very much a player's coach in my mind. And I really like having a couple of bad guys, guys who got a little bit of snarl, who got a little bit of jerk in them. There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of that as well. You don't want to be buddy-buddy with these players. You support them, but you don't want buddy-buddy going on. And going off what some of the previous Titans offensive linemen have said, Keith Carter will bring a little bit of that snarl. So, yeah, and Carter has a heck of a job right now with coaching this offensive line. But really, I was a lot more into Hard Knocks. I got to say, I thought Hard Knocks was a much better broadcast than One Jets Drive. I think a big part of it maybe is that I'm used to One Jets Drive. I'm used to Flight 2023, Flight 2022, and all the years past. I know what the Jets production team does, and they do it very, very well. But now you throw in HBO. Now you throw in NFL films as well. And now it's like a whole new level of production, a whole new level of access, which, because I don't have HBO. I haven't watched Hard Knocks really since the Jets were last on it. I got HBO just to watch it this time. But when the first thing that I saw, I believe, was Colin Cowherd making like smart-ass remarks about the Jets, I wanted to vomit. I wanted to run in the bathroom and throw up. Craig Carton, same thing, said, I don't believe that the New York Jets are going to get Aaron Rodgers and all of this. So, hey. But the opening that they did when they had sort of like the Joe Namath to Aaron Rodgers transition clip where you see Namath starting to throw the ball and then it finishes with Aaron Rodgers. Oh, my gosh. I mean, I got goosebumps, man. It was so beautiful. And there was also – so we all know that Robert Saleh and the coaching staff, they like to have their slogans. They have all the phrases, all gas, no brake, being chief among them. But they had one banner, and now what? That seems to be their brand new slogan. So now what? Okay, you've done this. Now what? But there was another banner in the back. I didn't hear anybody say these words, but I saw it, and it was ignore the noise. Tune out the distractions. Okay, ignore the noise. I got a feeling we're going to be hearing about that as time goes on. And then comes the speech that's getting a whole lot of attention right now that Robert Saleh gave to the players, to the coaching staff. And did you see, if you were watching this, did you see Christopher Johnson sitting in the room too? Chris Johnson was sitting up towards the top center watching this speech go down, which I thought it was really, really cool that he was there. Oh my gosh, Braden from New Zealand. Dude, I'm so happy to see you. Thanks, Braden. I'm not gonna make fun of your voice. Everybody else does that, but man, I'm so thrilled that you're here. Dude, what time is it where you are? We have New York Sports WickerMedia going international tonight, man. That's awesome, man. We're gonna have to get a passport here of different countries representing us today. So, man, Braden, I've seen him in a whole lot of chats on a whole lot of groups, previous shows that I've done, and in a whole lot of groups. Braden always brings the knowledge and he always brings the energy, and I'm really glad that he's here to do it here too. Awesome to have Braden here. So Robert Saleh does the Crow Eagle speech. Braden says it is 2:24 p.m. That's like when I take my break at work. All right. Well, you're wide awake. So, all right, that's perfect. But so Robert Saleh gives the Crow Eagle speech, talking about that the only bird that will attack an eagle is a crow. And basically he climbs on the eagle, starts pecking at his neck, And what the eagle does to counter it is to fly high as he can until eventually the crow suffocates, falls back down to earth. And the crows are all the critics of the New York Jets, whether that's fans of other teams, whether that's the media, whether that's even some of us Jets fans who might have some doubts in our mind about just how good this team really is. Because I got to admit, there's a little bit of crow in me after 35 years of rooting for this team. I want to eat crow at the end of it. I don't want to be the crow. All right, but I really like the analogy, and Salah really knows how to give these stories, give these analogies to really get the players to understand what's going on. So then we go straight to open practice, and man, I cannot believe watching Sauce Gardner try to defend Garrett Wilson and the two of them going back and forth. It must be like Jerry Rice going against Ronnie Lott for the San Francisco 49ers back in the 1980s. Braden says, I'm pumped to watch, but I don't get to see Hard Knocks till Sunday night. Well, I might be giving a few spoilers here, but still, no matter what information I give, you got to watch it for it to really do justice. You really, really do. No doubt about it. Hey, everybody, if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do. Let's get this show out to as many people as possible. But I'm nearly in tears watching Sauce versus Garrett. It's one thing to read from the content providers, from the beat writers about, oh, man, this is so cool to watch it. But when you watch them step for step with each other, they're just making each other better. Sometimes Garrett wins the battle. Sometimes Gardner wins the battle. But, man, that's what you want to see as a football fan. It just gets better and better and better. And you want the offense to win sometimes. You want the defense to win sometimes. But speaking of winning, that's what Sauce Gardner was doing when he headed out to the University of Cincinnati and became a college graduate. Absolutely fantastic. You even saw Nick Van Exel, the old basketball point guard there. He was there as well, which was pretty cool to see. And then we go back to the clips from open practice. And you see the helicopter flying in. I'm like, who's flying in on a helicopter? Is Lex Luger coming in about to try to body slam Yokozuna on the Intrepid? What's going on here? Who's coming down the chopper? And it's Liev Schreiber, who's the narrator of Hard Knocks. But I gotta take umbrage with one thing Rogers said. He called Schreiber the voice of God. I'm sorry, there's only one voice of God as far as football goes, and it's the late great John Facenda. It starts with a football. The football game starts with a gun. It ends with a whistle. I would believe that. I would have posted some clips if I possibly could have, but we don't want to piss off the YouTube folks. But yeah, Facenda in more modern age, hey, I would expect God's voice to sound somewhere between Johnny Cash and James Earl Jones. I don't know about Liev Schreiber being the voice of God, but he did do a good job narrating, I thought. And then they did spend some time on Zach Wilson and how he's been developing. And I really think looking at Wilson more so than I think since the time he was getting drafted, he looked as relaxed as I've ever seen him look. I really think that a reset was needed for him. And I actually feel good that Wilson is still here and that he's learning from Rodgers. I saw one person say this was really cold. It was cold, but he said, boy, isn't it cute that Rodgers is treating Zach Wilson like he's like a special needs child and he's just learning from Rodgers, like working with his hero, spending a few minutes in his shadow and trying to get a little bit of the rub. It was pretty cold, but I understood where they were coming from. Johnny Jimenez, I know, mommy got engaged. Why Rhea? I don't know. She's got a little bit too much ink for me, Rhea Ripley does. She's not really my type. Although I do find it, I wonder, you remember, when Rusev and Lana got engaged in WWE, they were in storylines with other people. They were feuding at the time. Rusev with Summer Rae and Lana with Dolph Ziggler. The engagement story comes out and they get punished. You wonder if Rhea will, now that we know that Rhea is not going to be, it's not a shoot with Diddy Dom Dom. You have to wonder about it, but you do wonder about some of the. It seems, why is like every woman's like freaking getting engaged or getting married or getting pregnant? Man, they're running out of a women's division over there, or they're getting injured. Seriously, just a quick WWE thing: retire the women's tag team championships. Anytime somebody gets them, somebody either they quit, they get fired, they get pregnant, or they get injured. They are cursed. Retire them. Add in a women's intercontinental title. Let's add a secondary women's championship. Stop with the women's tag team titles. Okay, just had to get that off my chest. Oh, and the other thing with that, Buddy Matthews/Murphy isn't really with Rey Mysterio's daughter? Huh, you could have fooled me with that one. All right, well, that's our little WWE sidebar for a moment, but then we saw a little bit about Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett and how they worked together. I thought that was kind of interesting. Then comes one of the funniest moments of the show. Now, as a bit of an Italian, I gotta admit this got under my skin a little bit. I had to rewind it 2 or 3 times to make sure I heard what I thought I was hearing. So you got the defensive tackles all standing together. Tanzel Smart, Solomon Thomas, Quinton Williams, I think Al Woods. I think Quentin Jefferson was there, but I don't know if I saw him at the moment. And they're talking about different stuff, and one of them mentions the charcuterie board instead of a charcuterie board. They call it the charcuterie board. What the frig is a charcuterie board? Oh, the charcuterie board. That was one of the funniest things, the charcuterie board. Unbelievable. I'll tell you who one of the stars of this episode was, and if you have thoughts on who stood out to you, put them down there in the comments. I want to get your thoughts on this too. But Jeff Ulbrich, I thought, really stood out. His confidence, his intensity, it was there. I felt he was not quite there the last 2 years, but he just seems so confident in this defense. Man, he just seems so excited. And it's also pretty amazing to me how many Jets fans wanted him fired just a year ago. It just goes to show you, when you have good players, it makes your coaches, for the most part, look a whole lot better. A whole lot better. So, yeah, Jeff Ulbrich, I think, is really going to benefit from all this talent that the Jets have. I think he's just one of those coaches where if you give him good players, he'll be a good coach, but he may not be able to make a great defense out of crap. Okay. But yeah, I think it just reminds me that sometimes it's easy to blame the coach when in reality you need better players. So, Johnny Jimenez, Jimmy versus Jay next pay-per-view. Well, the next pay-per-view is only 3 weeks away. I almost wonder if you want to build it up a little bit towards another pay-per-view down the road, because I got to be honest with you, I think I want this to build for a little while. It's kind of how I feel. TV MA audience time. Yep, there you go. Yeah, Mrs. Johnny Jimenez says Ulbrich is a silver fox. I don't know. The pepper and the salt are pretty equal with him there. Yeah, he's got some silver, but he's still got more pepper than salt going on there. Oh, by the way, how much more Method Man do we need? I got to be honest. I thought Method Man was like a superhero from the 80s or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I thought he was on sci-fi. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I know very little about hip-hop. I am, hey, call me square if you want. That's totally cool. But I'm like, Method Man? I mean, yeah, what was his superpower exactly? But you saw him twice. That was one of the few things that crossed over from One Jets Drive to Hard Knocks was Method Man there hanging with Aaron Rodgers, breaking down the huddle, and giving the man in the glass speech that Bill Parcells used to when Bill Parcells left the Jets. That was the poem that he recited about, you can't cheat yourself, basically. And that's what Method Man chose to use, was part of that poem. But then Hard Knocks, so One Jets Drive didn't do that. Hard Knocks skips right to the Hall of Fame game. And that game, it would have been pretty cool to go to that game, but at the end of the day, I think after about the second or third quarter, I think my patience would have been wearing out. But it was interesting to see how Robert Salah just gushed over Chaz Surratt, the linebacker from the University of North Carolina, who the Jets claimed off waivers, I believe, from the Minnesota Vikings. And Surratt really showed some speed, getting an interception and taking it back a couple of yards. There really is a spot for a fifth linebacker on this roster if somebody reaches out and grabs it. I think 4 linebackers are pretty sure of their roles on this team. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on tonight when we break down the 53-man roster and what changes I've made to my prediction. But Chaz Surratt is one of those guys just under the radar. And I really, really think that if Chaz Surratt gets cut, he will be snatched up within about 30 minutes. Because there is going to be a team out there that needs a linebacker like Surratt. I really hope there's a spot for him on this roster. But if I'm comparing the two shows, I kind of preferred Hard Knocks a little bit more. Both had the Robert Saleh speech early on, a ton of Aaron Rodgers, which is totally understandable. It makes sense because he is the new identity of this team. He is the leader of this team. And also with the shot of Aaron Rodgers, both shows had shots of Aaron Rodgers walking onto the field for the first time for open practice in front of the Jets fans. But I like the way Hard Knocks did it, where it was like one long continuous shot where you follow Rodgers coming through the double doors, slowly walking out, and the camera's going with him. And it's one shot all the way on the field to where you hear the Aaron Rodgers chants. Whereas with One Jets Drive, they were kind of breaking it up a little bit. I kind of like the drama that Hard Knocks put into it. All right, so yeah, I've already said my share about Method Man as well. Let's take a moment and go back to the chat here. So Braden says 1 month it was Ulbrich, next month LaFleur. Ulbrich definitely won. There is absolutely no question about it. Pure Adrenaline Sports, John Post, they should build that for WrestleMania 40 in Philly, City of Brotherly Love. Sports, that is a great idea. Hey, it's a nice escape, except the escape often provides us with a lot of pain. It's a very weird relationship that we have with these teams. We use them to try to, I guess, for the most part, to have community and escape from the real world, and sometimes they can cause as much frustration and aggravation as real life can. It is pretty amazing when you think about it. John Nolte, one of the all-time greats, man. Nolte, it is great to see you here. Thank you so much for hanging with me tonight, man. It is so cool to see you. Yeah, we got the Johns going on here. We got John 3. We got John Nolte, John Jimenez, and John from Pure Adrenaline Sports. Man, I just may call myself John at this rate. Might make it easier for everybody. Dude, Surratt looks like Robert Saleh with hair. Hey, maybe that's his long-lost cousin. Maybe that's why Saleh digs him so much. Who knows? You know what, Nolte? I haven't gone anywhere. I'm right here. I've been doing my show. I've been doing my videos. This is episode 6 of the live show. Hopefully one day we can talk about everything that did happen. And I hope that I'll be able to do some more collaborations with other providers in the near future. I would love to do it. But you know what? There's a time and place for everything. And right now, I'm pretty happy to be doing my thing and building this up. The trivia is still here. The trivia is still here on Wednesday nights, and we're gonna do that in just a little while, maybe 20 minutes or so. Just kind of see how the show goes. But yeah, New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm still here, and tell Harry, tell all the other guys. Yeah, I'm still here. Johnny Jimenez, what was your take on the Hall of Fame speeches? Part of me wishes they could have a little bit more time, but when you have 9 inductees in the sweltering heat that they were dealing with, it was. I understand why they have to keep it about 10 to 15 minutes or so. I really thought I gotta give Revis credit. Jets fans in particular, and I know I do. I'm torn on how to feel about Darrelle Revis, and not so much the contract issues. I never had a problem with him holding out. He deserved to get paid, and I got no problem with that. But him going to New England and winning a Super Bowl just it had been like Mike Piazza winning a Super Bowl, winning a World Series with the Atlanta Braves. It's just no, I can't. I can't. Or Brian Leach winning a Stanley Cup with the New York Islanders. Just not right. It just doesn't look right, So I will give Revis credit that he took the time to acknowledge that there were Jets fans burning their jerseys. I did not burn my Darrelle Revis jersey. I tore mine up, but hey, it was from an ex-girlfriend, so I didn't really have much value for it anymore. That's just the truth of the matter. But yeah, I thought Klecko did a really good job, and with the time that he had, and you could really tell how much it really meant to him. And I love the little dig that he took at his son, and he took at Dan because Dan Klecko, his son, has 3 Super Bowl rings, 2 with New England and 1 with Indianapolis. But then Joe looks at Dan and says, "But let me know when you get one of these," pointing to his Hall of Fame bust. So I thought that was a pretty funny moment there by Klecko. Yep, I'm going to be doing this Wednesday thing. I've been doing it faithfully. This is now the 6th week, and yeah, we're going to keep doing it. The foreseeable future, we're going to do it at 10 p.m. I really try to pick a time, for the sake of the audience that didn't conflict with other shows. I try to be respectful in that way. And we started at 9 o'clock, but with certain scheduling things, I decided to move it back to 10 p.m. And I think it's working the best for the greater good. So that's pretty much where it is. Cameron Trammell, man, I'm seeing a lot of first timers in the chat right now, but some old friends, some of my old friends from the old shows. Cameron, it's good to see you here as well, man. I'm so glad that you're here too, man. I'm just so thankful about it. I'm just so thankful for everybody who takes the time to watch these shows. Johnny Menez, it was cool because it brought generational Jet fans. You know what? It's one of those things where you start to appreciate your history because it's easy to take for granted that there's a whole new generation of Jets fans who don't remember even the Bill Parcells days. It's pretty crazy. When you get to be 30, 40, 50, you take it for granted that there's a whole new generation that doesn't have the same memories that you might have. And this is the kind of thing where you see that full circle thing where you see Klecko, you see Revis, and you start to learn about these players and you learn about just how special they were. Now, I didn't get to watch Joe Klecko. He retired right around the time that I started to come up as a Jets fan. It was right around the late 1980s. So for me, it was really stories with Klecko. But when you make the Pro Bowl at 3 different positions on the defensive line, he had over 20 sacks in one season before they were actually counting sacks as an official statistic. And it took a lot of years for it to happen. But you could just tell, just in his face, how much it meant to him to get this recognition. It just meant a whole lot. And it's one of those things where things like this, it doesn't really happen for Jets fans. Think about it. All the awards, the individual accolades, the recognition of the Hall of Fame. We're always on the side. We're always on the back burner for this stuff. And the more you think about it, the more all of this is coming together. It's like, could something now be happening during the regular season that will be special, that we'll remember for the rest of our lives? Man, oh man. Nathan Colgrove, I put all my heart and soul into the JETS chant, led by Fireman Ed following the Klecko speech. Awesome. Were you with a group of folks, Nathan? Yeah. Did you watch it with a bunch of people, or? Yeah, for me, I had to watch it the next day. I just had too much stuff going on. I just wound up watching it the next day solo. And now we got one of the true greats and a very good friend of mine, Dom C, one of the smartest guys when it comes to prospects. You see him on a whole bunch of channels. If somebody wants to get insight on a prospect on the NFL draft, they go to Dom C. No Kuiper, no. Todd McShay, no. You want Dom C, because he will tell you like it is. He will tell you about the 4-string safety playing at Murray State right now. He knows who it is. He knows the name right now. Good to see you, Dom. Johnny Klecko was my dad's favorite, and mine is Revis. We drank and brewed together, which is priceless. Johnny, what beer was it? Yeah, what's your beer of choice, man? Yeah, I drank earlier tonight before the show. I drank a 3 Floyds Zombie Dust from Northwest Indiana. 3 Floyds is probably my favorite brewery in the United States. They are an amazing brewery, and they're kind of distributing to the East Coast a little bit more. So if you can find some 3 Floyds beer, like a Gumball Head or an Alpha King or a Zombie Dust, try 3 Floyds beer. Man, I should get them to be a sponsor. They should be my first sponsor here. Man, you are in Canton. Man, good for you. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Dom C needs to be on the NFL Network, or at least right for him. Hey, Dom's moving on up in the world. For sure. Yeah, for sure. You know what, Johnny? I've had Presidente beer, as the fly wants to invade our space right now because I got the lights on. I've had Presidente beer at a couple of taquerias, and I got to say, I'm good with Presidente beer. And it was only recently I tried some Valentina hot sauce at this local we got a little local Mexican place here in downtown Hampton, Virginia. And they do these wings. They smoke them and then they fry them, and they make their own hot sauce. But they serve them with the Valentina hot sauce on the side, and the Presidente beer goes with the wings so well. Super refreshing. So yeah, good choice with the Presidente. Jets mess. I want to give you credit because you're giving me my okay. Yeah, we're all good. Yeah, my first objectionable comment that YouTube has ever given was by Jets mess. Dom C gets more work than a porn star. I don't know if he gets paid quite as much though. All right, so let's recap the first preseason practice against the Carolina Panthers. It was a great scrimmage for the Jets, and you know why? Nobody got hurt. At the end of the day, we can break down what's working, what isn't working, but there is nothing more important than the team staying healthy, and there were no injuries to report. So I am totally happy about that, for one thing. Aaron Rodgers, from all indications, was fantastic. drawing Carolina offsides a whole bunch of times, very sharp in the red zone. Now, we know the 2-minute drill didn't go very well. They went 3 and out, which Rodgers was incredibly frustrated about. But, no Sauce, no Garrett, no Dwayne Brown at left tackle, no Breece Hall, obviously. But, if the beat writers, if Samini, Costello, and guys like that are going to put the vast majority of their attention on the 2-minute drives, you know what? So be it. We are still a full month away from the season starting. Over a month, okay? The Jets' defensive line, here's the bottom line. The Jets' defensive line absolutely dominated a very good Carolina offensive line. An offensive line that includes Ike Ekwonu, Bradley Bozeman, Taylor Moton. They were dominating. Okay, and against a very good offensive line, I am just so encouraged by the depth of this defensive line. Let's see, John, you have to go down to Sam's down on the ocean front, double grilled wings. They fry them, then char grill them, and get tossed in buffalo barbecue sauce. Well, I'm about an hour away from the ocean front, and that's without traffic. With wings, for me, the Dirty Buffalo is pretty much where it's at. I particularly love the tag team wings, the outsider wings, which are lemon pepper rub and garlic parmesan sauce. Really, really good. I've also had a barbecue sauce. I like combining the dry rubs and the sauces. I like doing that combination. A Dirty Buffalo down here in Virginia, they call them tag teams, and they name them after famous wrestling tag teams. So there's like the Harlem Heat. They've got the New Day. They've got the Legion of Doom, which is like the super hot one. I think one of the favorite ones I had was the barbecue sauce, one of their medium barbecue, and I think Old Bay. So I like heat, but I don't want to blow my head off. But all right, well, when I'm down on the ocean front next, I'll have to check Sam's out. John Nolte, I miss Y2K99's That's What She Said on another channel. You know what? I still think there might be a chance that there will be some Friday night shows in the future once the season gets going. But with certain situations, with living arrangements, things like that, we have different things where all of this has to be worked out. But I will say this, I am very much looking forward again to doing this with friends because, hey, I love doing this, but it's always just a little bit more fun when you get to do it with your friends. And that's all I can really say about it, hey, if folks want to have me on the show, they know how to contact me, and I know how to contact them. So, but getting back to it, with the pass blocking, it is a concern, and I have had my concerns about this offensive line, and we're going to get into that, and we're just going to get into it right now. They had trouble blocking Brian Burns, who is an absolute beast. Derek Brown is no slouch. I do hope that it will get better when Dwayne Brown comes back in. Robert Saleh has indicated he will definitely be ready to start week 1. You know what? My guess at this point is he's just getting the preseason off. Maybe he'll come back in for like the last week. Pure Adrenaline Sports. How do I contact you? I'll tell you what. I'll throw my email down in here. I'll give you guys my personal email. It's cool. It's on the YouTube page anyway for like inquiries how to reach out to me. So yeah, I'll just throw my email right down there. Okay. So yeah. So if anybody wants to email me, I know Jets Mess he emailed me at a different email, at a Gmail account, but you can email me at this particular address as well. So yep. So that's a good way to do it. Not getting out my phone number here though. But getting back with the offensive line, Brown has to practice a little bit. This offensive line needs some continuity, because who do you really trust on the offensive line right now? How many players? I love Elijah Vera Tucker, but let's be honest, we don't know where he's going to be playing. I'm not ready to believe he is locked in at right guard right now because Mekhi Becton, he's only been playing left side. Maybe playing left tackle is easier on his body, on his knee, than playing right side is. Maybe that's why he's so gung-ho on playing left tackle. That's the best thing I can come up with. So if that's the truth, then Becton's going to be a backup, once Dwayne Brown comes back. And then what do you do at right tackle? That's the $1 million question. Okay. Bleacher Report ripped our O-line today. You know what? Great. Let them rip it. Let them rip it. Over the 2-minute drill, that's fine. But you know what? If Billy Turner or Max Mitchell are starting at right tackle, the line deserves to be ripped. And you know what? You could even rip Joe Douglas for it if you want. Much as I love Joe Douglas, if one of those two guys are starting right tackle and they're playing like that, and they're trying to block come regular season, Greg Rousseau, Matthew Judon, Jalen Phillips, Micah Parsons. Don't get me started on the Eagles' defensive line, which had 75 sacks last year. Oh my God, please. This is the biggest reason why I'm a little bit afraid to get overly confident. And this is why I still got a little bit of crow inside my head about where this team is. So you wonder, is a free agent needed? Is a trade needed? You know, I mean, oh my gosh, I really feel that the Jets would move Mekhi Becton to right tackle if they felt he could play it, but they want to leave him at left tackle. And I think by doing that, you know, they've got good depth at left tackle, but I think they're compromising themselves on the right side. Because think about what they had to do, okay? Bill Turner's been struggling. They brought him in. Max Mitchell, maybe the blood clots he had this offseason are preventing him from really getting going. Maybe it prevented him from building up his strength the way he wanted to, and that's causing him problems. It's gotten to the point they had to claim Grant Hermans, who they let go of a year ago, off of waivers. But guys, there's no room for error on this offensive line. None. Aaron Rodgers knows it. This coaching staff knows it. Okay? Laken Tomlinson, how good's he going to be at left guard, as John Nolte's pointing out? I still think, and what's going to happen at center? I believe the Jets will be good at center, but will it be Connor McGovern? Will it be Joe Tippmann? And I still have this feeling in my gut. When it's all said and done, it will be here's my prediction for the starting five. Brown at left tackle, Tomlinson left guard, Tippmann center, McGovern right guard, and AVT plays right tackle. I cannot think of a more reliable right tackle who would be on this roster right now. If the Jets are not going to put Mekhi Becton at right tackle, then it's Elijah Vera Tucker. Because, Kajust, he's gone. Grant Hermans, please spare me. Turner and Mitchell have shown no ability that they're going to, take the ball and run with it. I mean, who else are we talking about? Adam Pankey? I mean, Carter Warren? I mean, Carter Warren can't be ready. We haven't heard much from Carter Warren lately. So, so who knows where Warren is right now, but by no means do the Jets want to be playing him. Do you remember last year when the Jets made some sudden changes to the offensive line, but they wouldn't announce them until right there, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, they moved this guy here and that guy there. Do you all remember that? Yeah, because I think the same thing could happen where they don't play their hand on who starts, and then boom, here comes the offensive line. And it's like, oh my God, what just happened? And the beat writers are, furiously scribbling and furiously typing, figuring out what's going on. But I just feel AVT is going to be right tackle as long as he needs to be. And then hopefully next year that could change and he could go back to guard, because ideally, I think we all want AVT playing guard. Okay. And also, the other thing I got to talk about is Tippmann, these conflicting reports. Samini, he's sounding the alarm bells that he's not making the push that Jets coaching staff was hoping he was. But every time I watch Joe Tippmann on video, he looks good. Whether he's run blocking, whether he's pass blocking, he's got good speed. He's got good power. He's got good nasty inside of him. So, I mean, I don't understand what the issue is really with Tippmann. The only thing that I could see is maybe the Jets are reluctant to hand the starting job to the rookie unless he's just that much better. But Robert Saleh has said it is all about having the best five on the field at offensive line. And to me, I think that's Tippmann plus McGovern. Let's put it this way. Let's think about it. If you had to play Connor McGovern or Billy Turner, who would you play? If you had to play Connor McGovern or Max Mitchell, who would you play? For me, it's Connor McGovern on both counts. McGovern is a decent, steady player. Turner and Mitchell, to me, are backups right now. That's it. And Tigo, if you happen to hear this, I know that your boy is Max Mitchell, but I'm sorry. We need a heck of a lot more from him. A heck of a lot more. Hank G, could Becton project to be a guard? I don't really know. Quick swig of water here for the working man and woman. I don't consider myself an expert about what type of player projects best at this position, but Becton was drafted to be a tackle. I can't imagine a guard who's going to be 340 pounds. To me, that's a little bit crazy to imagine. I put it this way. If the Jets thought Becton could be a guard, they might have put him there by now. and they might have moved AVT outside. I want Becton to play tackle. It's just me. I think they were really starting to grasp it at straws. I really, really do. Johnny Jimenez, what if we trade for Zach Martin? Would we bite? You know what? So I saw this on Twitter or X, I guess it is, whatever it may be this week anyway. I don't know if he's available, but if he is, man, I'd take a shot on him in a heartbeat. I don't know what Dallas would want for him, but I definitely don't think the Jets are done picking up offensive linemen. I think when cuts happen, somebody could definitely be acquired. So yeah, I have no doubt about that. George Fant already signed with the Houston Texans, just in case anybody is wondering about that. So Fant has a home. You got to wonder if the Jets waited just a little bit too late to take the opportunity to bring back George Fant, who was a very good pass blocker a couple years ago. Maybe it would have been a good idea. Who knows? So, all right, well, let's go on. Wow, it's 10:55 already. Where did the night go? Oh, shoot. I may have to plug my let's take a quick look here. How we doing? I'm just going to take 1 second here, minimize 1 or 2 things, make sure the battery's good. Okay, yeah, we're good for a little bit longer with the battery. Okay, it's in the other room, so what do you want? I'm going to give you my 53-man roster prediction real quick where I've got that right now, and then we will do some Jets trivia. Okay. And okay, Braden with a quick comment. AVT being tackled would mean we failed the OL construction in the offseason, in my opinion. You know, Braden, we do have to keep in mind that the Jets, I'm still convinced, wanted to take a tackle. I'm still convinced they did, but the 4 guys they wanted all went before they had a chance to draft. And that was part of getting Aaron Rodgers. That was part of the price. When we went down 2 draft spots, Pittsburgh trades up with New England, takes Broderick Jones, and that's the end of it. So they drafted Carter Warren. They drafted a project, but I definitely think the Jets' intention was to draft an offensive lineman first round or a tackle, I should say, first round. But at least they did address center in the second round, which they absolutely needed to do. I feel good about the interior line. I really, really do. Boy, if Becton was playing right tackle and Brown was at left tackle, I would feel pretty good. I would feel really, really good because Becton is a mauler in the run game. His pass blocking is not as reliable, so I would feel better putting him on the right side. But they're just not going to do that. And the only reason I could possibly think of is with Becton's knee. It's easier on his body to play left tackle than right tackle. I can't think of another reason why. All right. Well, I'm going to run quickly through my 53-man roster prediction. I haven't made a ton of changes, but I did make 1 or 2. At quarterback, I've got 2 on the roster, Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson. Please spare me with Tim Boyle. Mr. Rainbow passed himself. I'm not buying it. Running back, I've only got 3 right now. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Pure Adrenaline Sports, you are indeed the first super chat in the history of New York Sports WickerMedia. Yes, apparently we just got eligible. I found out literally when we crossed 700. So I think it was just 2 days ago. I wasn't sure if we were actually able to do it, but it looks like we are. So, yes, thank you so much for the first $5 super chat. I will be working on some different things in due time pretty soon. Possibility of super chats, emojis, memberships, things like that. I want to do maybe some exclusive content, but I've just got to think of something that would be unique that I could do regularly. So that is something that I am thinking about. Maybe my game predictions. Maybe I'll make that put that behind a wall. I don't know yet, but we're still thinking about it. But yes, super chats, I guess, are now available. Although when I'm looking, it's funny. I'm actually looking at the YouTube thing myself, and I'm not even seeing where I could do it if I wanted to. That'd be pretty bad if you had to do your own super chats, right? But yes, Pure Adrenaline Sports, John Post, the first super chat, you will go down in history. Thank you. Yep, it is a celebration, and you know what? Just for that, let's see. I think I gotta do something for him. So this is what are we gonna do here? Learn a couple things. Okay, yeah. Post this one's for. That's right. We got sound effects on this show too. You didn't get that on the old shows. All right. So we'll run through I'll give you a couple of surprises here. I am predicting 3 running backs. Only 3 running backs. Breece Hall, Bam Knight, and Izzy Abanaconda. I think Michael Carter gets cut. That's my big surprise. John Nolte as well. Oh my gosh, with the $9.99. Thank you, Nolte. Salty Nolte, you are amazing. Thank you so much. Man, oh man, you guys are something else, man. I'm gonna have to add some new stuff next week, just as like as for saying some thank yous. Yeah, for sure. Hey, you know what the heck, for Nolte, you get one too. Let's. There we go. That's more like it. All right. Yeah. I was not a DJ in my previous life, as you all could tell, but I want to add some different stuff, and I figured maybe adding some sounds in there would be pretty funny. So, all right. Well, yeah, that's a little bit of my. That is one of the surprises I have is Carter getting cut. I've got 3 running backs, and here's one addition I have. Nick Bawden makes this team at fullback. You can't deny Nick Bawden anymore. You cannot do it. He is being used. Aaron Rodgers likes the fullback. He's catching passes. He's throwing blocks. He is doing a whole heck of a lot. Nick Bawden, to me, is now all but a shoo-in to make this team. I can't imagine Nick Bawden not making this roster. So I think that's going to happen, and I think it comes at the expense of Michael Carter. Is he has shown enough? Zonovan Knight is a very capable player. He's the best blocker that the Jets have at running back, too. Okay? Johnny Jimenez, add the Jets fight chant song. Hey, if I can, I will. We just want to make sure we're good with the copyrights and the downloads. But yeah, we can find the links. Yeah, we'll definitely add some stuff. It was a Mets show. I got Meet the Mets. I've got the Rangers goals song on another banner. So yeah, we got a couple of other things. I found a few good things here. Wide receiver, I'm keeping 6. Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Corey Davis, McCole Hardeman, Randall Cobb. I'm still sticking with Jason Brownlee for right now. Even though he hasn't been quite as good the last couple of days, I'm still giving him the edge over Malik Taylor. And I think Xavier Gibson. I've seen some people, like I know Dom, he actually messaged me his roster, and he's got, Xavier Gibson making the roster because of the return capability, which to me is a very interesting idea, but I still think between Hardeman and Knight, you pretty much have what you need as far as a returner goes. Braden, I see Nick Bawden making the roster, but at the expense of a 6 wide receiver. It is very, very possible. Yep, I will not argue with that. I could definitely see that happening too, if none of those receivers really stands out. Okay, I think if one of those young wide receivers has a big camp or a couple big preseason games, the spot is theirs for the taking. Now at tight end, this is where it's been getting tough for me, but I went with just 3: Uzama, Conklin, and Jeremy Ruckert. I want to keep Zach Kuntz in the worst way, but man, oh man, it is. Yeah, you could keep all these guys, but eventually you got to let somebody go. And to me, I don't see the Jets rolling with 5 wide receivers as of right now. Yep, Izzy could return as well. He did at Pittsburgh. Yep, they definitely have options. Man, Brant Boyer's got some toys to play with here. Although, let's be honest, it's really a lot more about punt returning than it is kick returning. The NFL doing whatever they can to take kick returning and special teams out of the game. It's amazing to me that Mike Westhoff came back. It's amazing to me. I know, Johnny, I don't want to let Zach go. I don't want to let him go. But, man, you got to but somebody has to go. And sometimes you have to cut a guy who you feel you can sneak through waivers. And the fact is, I can't imagine the Jets rolling with less than 20 linemen between offense and defense. So at tackle, we've got Dwayne Brown, Mekhi Becton, Carter Warren, Billy Turner, and Max Mitchell. 5 tackles. I don't think you can go with less than 5 right now. Unless maybe like Turner is so bad or whatever, they let him go. But I think they would just replace him with somebody. Yeah, Kenny Yeboah getting the boot. I know that's going to break somebody's heart. We all know who. But with Yeboah, we like him. But every team has a Kenny Yeboah on their roster, on their practice squad. And now that I could see that Kuntz can possibly play special teams, get down the field, block a little bit, I just don't see what Yeboah does that's special that would stand out. I think Yeboah is going to have to go. So that's just where I feel there. On the interior, I'm keeping Laken Tomlinson, Connor McGovern, Elijah Vera Tucker, Joe Tippmann, and I'm keeping Wes Schweitzer. Yes, Johnny Jimenez, I let Tim Boyle go, but he can hang on the practice squad if he so desires. So I'm keeping Schweitzer just for a little bit more depth at guard and center, whereas Tristan Colon, I think he's a little bit more of just the center. Now that the Jets have McGovern and Tittman, I think Cologne is a little bit redundant on the roster. So that's 25 offensive players. Now let's go to the defense. I've got pretty much my straight 10 defensive linemen, the same ones that everybody has. Carl Lawson, John Franklin Myers, Jermaine Johnson, Bryce Huff, Michael Clemens, Will McDonald, Quinton Williams, Quentin Jefferson, Al Woods, and I'm keeping Solomon Thomas. I think there's going to be a good contingent of Jets fans that are going to want to let Thomas go. I will say this. If the Jets coaching staff feels that Michael Clemens can play inside on a regular basis, or they want to use John Franklin Myers inside a little bit more, it could work. But I feel as though they want just a natural defensive tackle in that spot. They want to be able to use Clemens in different spots, take advantage of the versatility. I think that it's going to be Thomas making the roster. And then at linebacker, I'm going to go with 4. I'm going with C.J. Mosley, Quincy Williams, Jamian Sherwood, Zaire Barnes. I would love to bring on Chaz Surratt or Claudine Cherilus. I really like Cherilus. I like his speed, his coverage ability. But I think the Jets are just going to roll with the 4 linebackers. And then at cornerback, this was a tough one, but I went Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Brandon Eccles, who has to be on the roster week 1 despite a suspension, Bryce Hall, Justin Hardy, Michael Carter, and I kept Javelin Guidry because I felt the Jets needed another slot cornerback. I think Jarek Bernard-Converse, he's still hurt. I think he starts the season on the PUP list. So I feel as though they need that extra defensive back. So I'm going to put Guidry in. Absolutely, I had Bryce Huff on the 53. Yeah, I could never leave off Bryce Huff. No way would I leave him off. No chance. And there's no way I'm trading Bryce Huff either. And no, I don't have the Jets signing Dalvin Cook, even if he did follow Gotham City Crew on Twitter. Okay. Here's what I think about Dalvin Cook. Okay. The only way Dalvin Cook is on the Jets is if they feel Breece Hall isn't ready to start the season and they put him on the PUP list. I think you will see Breece Hall or Dalvin Cook, but you will not see both on the active roster at the same time to start the year. But if the Jets were to let Javelin Guidry go, then I could see an argument for a 5th linebacker, whether it is Surratt or whether it's Cherilus. Andrew Jack, I believe I saw Andrew in the Pure Adrenaline Sports group as well. Andrew Jack, welcome to Wednesday Night Live. It's good to see you, man. Thanks so much. So that's cornerback, and then it's safety. It's Jordan Whitehead, Tony Adams, who is looking better and better. Tony Adams might be the breakout player of the defense. Could really happen. Adrian Amos makes it, and I want to take Trey Dean in the worst way over Ashton Davis, but I feel Brant Boyer just gets a few spots, and I think he's going to put Ashton Davis on there. But I'll tell you what, my head says Ashton Davis and my heart says Trey Dean. Does that make sense? Nathan Colgrove, does Bryce Hall deserve a roster spot? You know what? Maybe he doesn't. But do you trust Jimmy Moreland? Do you trust Derek Langford? That's pretty much where it is. And right now, Hall is a little bit banged up. But remember, Eccles will not be playing week 1 against Buffalo. So if that's the case, what are your corners looking like? Sauce, DJ, Michael Carter, Javelin Guidry. Is Jarek Bernard-Converse healthy? Can he play? Do you trust Jimmy Moreland? Obviously, Justin Hardy is not going to play cornerback. And if he is, something has gone seriously, seriously wrong. I feel like Hall almost has to stay by necessity. Unless Converse is ready to go, then I think Bryce Hall makes the spot because as good as the Jets are at cornerback, it's a very top-heavy situation. They're not deep at cornerback, and that's the concern that I have. But again, it's hopefully just 1 week, and then Brandon Eccles comes in. That was one thing the Jets had going last year. The secondary was so healthy, especially at corner. Eccles, Sauce, DJ, they were there the whole game. But if somebody gets hurt, it's going to be very difficult for them to overcome it. So I don't really want to let Bryce Hall go. And then at specialist, pretty self-explanatory, Greg Zuerlein, kicker, Thomas Morstead at punter, long snapper Thomas Hennessy. When was the last time as Jets fans we felt this collectively good about our kicking game? And even though I said my last time, I don't necessarily trust Greg Zuerlein from long distance, he's been making about 2 out of 3 kicks from 40 and up for years now. He looked absolutely fantastic in Cleveland. I got to acknowledge it. He looked fantastic, and I hope he carries it over. So that's pretty much where I'm standing on the 53-man roster. Do I think Aaron Rodgers will be good this season? I I think the Jets can be a little better at quarterback than they were last year. Just seriously, the only concern that I have is can the offensive line keep him upright? Other than that, I have zero concerns. I have no worries about his health. I have no worries about his desire, about his confidence, about any of that. Just protect him. That is it. If the tackles do their job, if they keep Aaron Rodgers upright, this offense will score 30 points a game. That's how confident I am. Because remember, Aaron Rodgers will elevate players. He will make stars out of tight ends who you had never heard of. He can make Jeremy Ruckert, who's an okay up and coming tight end, look like Mark Andrews. He could do it. He will throw touchdown passes to Nick Bawden. It will really, really happen. Rising Rhino, who also does some of the live streams of baseball games I've seen him do. Hey, Rising Rhino, put in there. What teams do you usually do? Is it mostly baseball? But Rising Rhino, I met him through Pure Adrenaline Sports as well. So check his content out for live streams. So yeah, Rhino, put in there what teams you do so that we can all get to know you a little bit better. Yeah, started hanging out with John Post, Pure Adrenaline Sports recently, watching some of the baseball games live, and got to know a few people there as well. And hey, we're getting to promote each other's work, and that's what this stuff is all about. Getting to spread the word out and getting to know each other's stuff, and maybe finding a new channel that you wouldn't have found otherwise. None of us, hey, none of us are going to be liked by everybody. Everybody's got somebody that they like, somebody that they dislike. And that's totally cool. So, hey, just build up who you do. Build up who you like. That's all. Mostly football. Hey, if you're doing XFL, USFL, and CFL, you're dedicated. Committed or dedicated. I'm not sure which. Huge Colt fan. Okay. I was at both Jets-Colts games, both playoff games, both the AFC Championship game and the wild card game. And I was living in Chicago at the time, and I drove 4 hours from the western parts of Chicago and across the time zone. Remember, I went central to east to go to both of those games. And I got to say, the Indy fans, very, very cool, very nice, very hospitable, very welcoming. Nothing really negative to say about them at all. And at the end of the day, we shared the same common hatred for the great Satan up in Foxborough, Massachusetts. So at the end of the day, I think that'll always bind the Jets and Colts just a little bit from that era. So, yeah, Ron, very, very good to have you. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, it is now 11:12. I can't believe it's this late already. So, Andrew Jack has subscribed. Thank you so much, buddy. Hey, share it with a friend, too. Let's spread the word out because I'm going to be here every Wednesday, man. Oh, I will be doing a video either tonight or tomorrow, if you're a basketball fan, about Josh Hart signing an extension with the New York Knicks. Talk about if that's something that the Knicks should have done. So be on the lookout for that. Okay. Let's get to trivia right now. So here's what we're going to do. We have a little bit of a smaller group tonight than we're used to having on the Thursday night shows, but hey, that's okay. So I'm going to give you not 4 minutes, but I'm going to give you 5 minutes to get the answer. And let's see how we do. Okay? So we are going to get into trivia, and we are going to do that right like the build-up. I want everybody to feel like you're like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or something like that. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do. Here is your trivia question, and it is New York Jets related. In 1977, the Jets drafted Wesley Walker. Name the only 2 players from that 1977 draft class who have been elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Your time starts right now. All right, so in 1977, the Jets drafted Wesley Walker. Name the only 2 players from the draft class who are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Can you name both players? And there is a very specific reason why I'm asking this question. All right, so I will keep watch on the comments here through StreamYard, and I will let you know when we have a correct answer and when we have an incorrect answer. Let's see. Johnny Jimenez says Joe Klecko and Marty Lyons. Well, as far as Joe Klecko goes, Joe Klecko is correct, but Marty Lyons is not a Hall of Famer. So you got 1 correct. So Joe Klecko, there's one other player. Imagine that, because that's back when the NFL draft was, what, 12, 13 rounds, right? It wasn't 7 rounds like it is now. But of those 12 rounds, over probably 250, 260 plus draft picks, only 2 Hall of Famers. And Joe Klecko, who was drafted, I think, in the 6th round from Temple, is one of those 2 to make the Hall of Fame. So I think that is really, really cool. But there is one other player, and let's see if y'all can get it. Rising Rhino says Tony Dorsett. Guys, you killed that one. Who needs 300-400 people in the chat? Man, you guys couldn't have done any better with that. Basically, yep, you knocked it out. John Nolte said Howie Long. No, it was Tony Dorsett, drafted by the Cowboys. So Joe Klecko and Tony Dorsett. So those are the correct answers. So great job. And hey, before every game, okay, every Wednesday night show, we will be doing, just like we did on the Thursday shows last year, the trivia question will relate to the Jets and their opponent. And I've got all those questions already lined up, ready to go. I got 2 Buffalo ones, 2 New England ones, 2 Miami ones, and I'm really, really excited to give those questions to you to see if you're going to get them. All right, everybody. Well, I think we're going to wind it down for the night. Again, we got our first 2 super chats. Thank you so much. We got some old friends here from the old days. I'm so glad you're here, and we got some new folks here too. I'll be here every Wednesday night for you, 10 p.m. And that's where I plan to leave it for the foreseeable future. Johnny Jimenez wants one more trivia. What am I, a jukebox for you, dude? All right, I'll make you a deal. I will do trivia, but it's not going to be Jets. It's going to be a Mets question. All right, I'm giving you a New York Mets question because I want to do this. I wanted to do this question. All right, Dom's taking off. Have a good night, brother. Good to see you, man. All right, I'm going to give you a New York Mets question. I feel like this one's just too many answers. Okay, Jeff McNeil, current New York Met, has worn 3 different numbers as a New York Met. Can you name the 3 jersey numbers he has worn as a Met? All right. I'll start the clock again. Set that for 5 minutes. I'll be right back, guys. I got to charge the computer. Okay, we're back. Yeah, I've had a few times in the past when the feed would go out on me because that old laptop that I had would just drain so quickly. But now we got a brand new laptop, so you won't be. Do y'all remember when I was doing I was doing the Thursday show a couple months ago, and I got stuck in the frozen position? When it froze, I was looking like this, and yeah, there's certain content providers when we talk on the phone. That's my profile picture. They just kind of save that. So. All right. Well, Pure Adrenaline Sports has 2 of the correct answers already, number 1 and number 6. Those 2 numbers are correct. Yep, Johnny Jimenez. Yep, repeating it. Number 1 and number 6. That's a Fargan trick question. You know what, John? Blame your fellow Johnny because he wanted another trivia question. So yeah, you guys killed the first one, so I got to make this one a little more challenging, right? Just a little more. All right. So there's number 1 and there's number 6. There's one other it's almost like you could just roll through all the different numbers in the between like 1 and 100, and eventually I guess you'll get. Johnny got it, number 68. Yep, when Jeff McNeil came up, he was 68. So yep, so that is correct. And for the other 2, there we go. One more correct answer. But because you said 12 and 24, I have to play this for you. You don't want that sound, all right? All right, guys. Well, we are going to wind this down. I can't believe we've been on an hour and 20 minutes already. Friggin' amazing. This was a great show, everybody. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Again, I'll be back here every Wednesday. We'll be doing videos all week long. And you know how we end it. I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Have a good night, everybody.